we will start with our panel discussion. Please welcome with me Dr. Manal Al-Amri, Dr. Abdul Ali Al-Hadawi, Dr. Mazen Hassanein, Dr. Marwan Al-Jahani, and Dr. Amal Al-Hashim, Dr. Muhammad Al-Mheza. Welcome. So, considering research and innovation, we all realize the importance of clinical research as a critical component in establishing a rare disease center of excellence. It can improve diagnosis and treatment, build evidence-based practice, evidence-specific knowledge, collaborate with patient communities, and train future healthcare professionals. We can't speak of clinical research without mentioning Kmark. Dr. Manal Al-Amri, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for this introduction. Before talking about Kmark and how we attract really partnerships to the kingdom. So why the kingdom? Saudi Arabia ranked the first on Innovation Index on the 2020 recent report. Also, 64 of the research output actually is produced by Saudi from the 17 Arab world. So as you can see, we are the knowledge creator in the region. Now we also have, we're proud that we have Vision 2030 led by King Salman Allah Yahfadha and His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman, which is pushing knowledge in the region. Now where is Kmark? We need to understand also where is Kmark in the innovation system. The typical innovation system has an enablers where you see knowledge creators. You have enablers, you see policymakers, awarenesses, and many other things. And then you have the engine, where you see the activities, what we expect, research, development, and innovation. And also, really the assets that you have, manpower, infrastructure, and in addition, which is really important to the engine, is really the players. So we either have players from the public realm or players from the private realm. And Kmark is a player from the public realm, as you all know. And of course, we expect an output. So from research, we expect publications, from development, such as clinical trials, from innovation, spin-offs, for example, and of course, an impact on a national level. And now, how did we attract partnership? Because we have the ecosystem and we identify gaps in that innovation system, and we're one player. We're not really, the engine is full of players, so we're one player in this innovation system, and we managed to create the full pipeline, which is research, development, and innovation. So we were able to have many publications from our research, over 2,000 clinical trials. We have over 600 clinical trials, and I believe my colleague Majid Al-Fadl, Dr. Majid, presented today some of these really initiatives. And of course, from innovation perspective, spin-offs. So this is how Kmark is really contributing to research in the kingdom and also on international level, by really filling in these gaps and focusing on research, development, and innovation. Now, what do we offer our partners? We offer our partners a lot of really things at Kmark. One of them is space, access to national projects such as the biobank. Of course, our facility is around the kingdom, so they have access to the facilities. We have a big human capital, over 1,200 students, physicians over 5,000, scientists over 1,000. So there is a lot that they were able to utilize. We have international and national, and I will not focus on that. I will leave that for my colleague, Dr. Abdelali. I think later will emphasize on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. I'm not sure why I'm not being. Okay, okay. So, thank you. Moving to Dr. Amal Al-Hashim. Dr. Amal, this day was very educational in increasing our understanding for the long journey of the Saudi screening program. What do you consider the major achievement and success stories for these initiatives? And what are we missing to have an integrated moonshot program on a national level?
Okay, big questions. If we talk about the two screening programs that we have so far, the first is the newborn screening and the second is premarital screening or health, or sorry, let's take the first one for the newborn screening. It was launched 2004 actually. The successful or achievement in it at the beginning that it was started as phases. Now we are achieving to have full enrollment of all deliveries in the kingdom, hopefully. And then, I mean, it's not only testing. You need to test the patient, and whoever is positive, you need to recall them and to offer them the medication and the formula. So it's a full program, not only testing and newborn screening. So we managed so far for having good cover, making those 16 or 17 disease and trying to overcome the difficulties with offering the medication recall in a population that it still has some problem with reaching them. They keep changing their numbers. So how to reach the patient, how to convince them to come and taking the medication. I feel there is achievement in this. And this reflects by what? By that we are increasing the number of diseases that we are interested to screen in. Many hospitals, they are starting to screen and to add more. This will have some problems that you want to do a national screening that everybody is screening the same diseases, not like, for example, National Guard is screening more than what military hospital is screening. But this will be overcome also. It is started one by one. The second problem or the second achievement in the premarital screening, as I told you at the beginning, the commitment or the whatever they find that they are not compatible with each other, the couples, but they will overcome this and they will get married. Of course, this is their autonomy. We have to respect this. But the population awareness, the education, it's improving with time, with the social media. And I think this we need to have it more with patient advocacy groups and patient awareness to make not only the premarital screening, only the targets screening for the population. Any family, they are known to have a specific disease, they have to be screened, all of them, before going to, intermarriage in the same family, in the same tribe. It's still difficult to told them, look, consanguinity is very bad, go away from each other. It's not like this. It shouldn't be like this. Sometimes they put Amal Al-Hashim تحذر من زواج الأقارب, say no for consanguinity. My father and mother are cousins. All my sisters I get married to cousins. So it's not like this. It needs at least those family who know that they have disease, they have to come and address it. Before they were hiding, now they're coming and saying, look, we have the disease, come and screen us. I think this is very good achievement.
Thank you so much, Doctora. Now, moving with Dr. Marwan. In patient advocacy group. What are the key challenges and opportunities facing patient advocacy groups, such as building capacity and sustainability, engaging diverse patients, communities, or navigating culture and regulatory barriers?
Thank you very much for the question and for the organizers to invite me here to be part of this wonderful event. Patient advocacy, I think, is quite new in our region. I think all day we haven't heard anything about patients. So the question is, where is the voice of the patient? It's not heard as it should be. All the work that I think everyone does, from regulators to payers to government, etc. At the end of the day, it's for the patient. But you seldomly find a family member or a caregiver or even a patient sitting here among us. So I noticed that there was a big gap in patient representation when I was the chairman of the UAE Rare Disease Society, and that pushed me to set up NFRED, which is a patient advocacy group, to really train the patients and give them the right tools to be able to talk about themselves in a positive way, how they're able to live with their disease, and how they can share information with others. Talking about early diagnosis, talking about what it is to live with a disease, or even if you're undiagnosed, what do you need to do? Encouraging clinical trials, for example, being part of studies. And it's at a different level when it comes from the patient, because they live with it every single day. When it comes to challenges, I think there is a little bit of stigma and a taboo. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, thinking that if one family member has a disease, then everyone else has the same disease. However, I think with the newer generation and with the social media and the awareness about what is genetics, what is genetic sequencing, all of that is being explained in a very simple terms that everyone is able to understand. So I think I would say that patient advocacy groups should have a better role to play in decision making in our region.
Thank you, Dr. Marwan. This was inspiring. Doctora Manal, we can't get enough of you. Okay. The second question: how can digital technologies drive rare disease diagnosis? What tools would be helpful in such cases?
So we know diagnosing rare diseases is really a challenge, and it's not really a simple process. There is a lot of challenges facing physicians to diagnose their patients. Even really in the era of human genome sequencing and exome sequencing, it's still difficult. We see a lot of these cases with results, and I'm sure Dr. Amal will agree with me, with negative results. We also need really highly skilled geneticists to work on them. In addition, there's a lot of unknown significance variants that we can't classify, and it's really very difficult without experimental designs and many functional work done, and we can't find them in any data sets. So it is an opportunity for digital innovation, and we know that there is already solutions developed really to tackle these problems. I believe that many companies found that gap, and they're working on these solutions. And I think it's very important to integrate them in our healthcare system because of the humongous data that we have and all this information in our servers. Using digital innovation is critical. And for example, I can give an example where they developed tools for linking genotypes with phenotypes. For example, also looking at the features of patients and predicting the syndromes. And also, of course, using imaging, X-rays to diagnose the patients. And this is really important. We noticed that there is a lot of health care systems around the world that they've been already using them. Not all of them, though. But I believe in the coming years, they will be utilized to serve physicians. It is really critical to have diagnosis in a timely manner and definitely we need to cut costs, and in addition, avoid human error. People get tired, but I don't believe machines will get tired.
True.
So it is really critical to utilize the innovation advancement.
Talking about this, how do you see artificial intelligence support rare disease? And if you can give us a clue on how much does this cost?
How does it support diseases? So, diagnosing a genetic disorder is really like putting a puzzle together. You need a physician, you need a scientist, and you need lab technologists sitting together and putting the story together to get a final picture. However, it doesn't happen in many cases. We face this challenge. So the need of artificial intelligence is also critical to really create that team in an artificial way, to put together the whole team in really what we say machine learning and algorithms that develop and really find solutions for these challenges. In a way, it can help us in classifying variants, as I said, of course, in predicting treatment, and this is what we really need, and personalizing them for our patients. Also for disease progression, it is really important to have these monitoring tools that companies are developing. There was a study that they looked at, for example, 1,000 patients, and they found 28% of these patients were actually diagnosed after 7 years, which is not logical. Another aspect is really accuracy and avoiding error. Cutting costs is really important. So there is an impact on patients where you get your results in a timely manner, you get an accurate results. There is an impact on physicians that it will expedite the process and avoid human and emotional burden. There's impact on government where you cut cost. And I can give you an example that, for example, the projected market for artificial intelligence globally is actually around 200 billion by 2030 for artificial intelligence. And there is increase in using this threefold in the US and the hospitals compared to 2020. So it is happening. Yeah. And we know, for example, the rare disorders projected market is increasing 11% per year. So there is a revenue, which is around 130 billion by 2026. And that's what's reported by the recent, I believe, McKinsey report. So there is an advantage. Now, the trick here that the pharmaceutical companies, I'm sure that there is a lot here around really watching our panel, that they did recognize that gap. Yes. And they're working on it and using artificial intelligence in addition to gene therapy and many cellular therapies to focus on this market, because there is a met need, and there is, in many, many cases, there is some therapies and there's many no cure. Yes. And no treatment. So they are really invading that market space. But the most important thing that we need to know as our region has a competitive advantage, that because of the high consanguinity, we definitely have to look at the positive side of the story, that because of the high consanguinity and the population that we have, we need to start really on gene therapy, cellular therapy innovations, and matching them with artificial intelligence tools and invade that market ourselves and develop our tools. So there is a chance, and it's really should cut costs on and lower the financial burden.
Thank you so much, Doctora. Dr. Mheza, what clinical initiatives should be prioritized in development of a rare disease, a MoonShot program, and how can stakeholders work together to ensure its success?
Sorry. I think this is a long question. I cannot really answer it But I think for a successful program, you need the engagement of families and patients. That's number one. They have to believe in, research. They have to be dedicated. They have to be proactive. I think what Dr. Al-Janah mentioned about the support groups is something that we are lacking here in Saudi Arabia. Number two, the support to researchers in the institutions, that is another issue. I think there has been great change over the past, I can say, 5 years, speaking about my institute and the country in terms of, promoting, supporting, facilitating clinical trials. That's another thing. The third aspect is improving the ecosystem of the clinical trials by establishing the tools in each institute and also in the country as a whole, so that you can do the clinical trial in a very smooth way. Rather than now, it's a bit fragmented and you need to fight here and there to get things done. But I think the public has to buy into the idea, and the ones who are responsible about doing it, they have to dedicate more time, support. And in the country, I think the facilitation and governance is going on very well.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abdul Ali and Dr. Mazen. KSA National Biotechnology Agenda aims to position the country as a leader in biotech innovation. What steps has the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia taken to promote the development and adoption of biotechnology within its border?
Great, thank you for the question. But first, my great appreciation to the organizers of this wonderful event. Special thanks to Nancy for her efforts. So, let's say a few years ago, the kingdom, at its really highest level in the government, put together what is called the national, or a committee for a national strategy for biotechnology. And the purpose behind that effort was actually to come up with, or to articulate, what will biotechnology look like for the kingdom, and what could be the implementation, let's say, roadmap, in order to leverage all the efforts that are already being taking place in biomedical R&D throughout the kingdom, and there are so many, at different levels. Some of them are part of a government entity, others are academic, pure academic institutions. So that by itself is a great testament that the country at its highest level recognize the biotechnology as one of the key ingredients to economic diversification from a country that we all know its economy primarily based on hydrocarbon, to what is the best way to diversify that economy. So that's really one. Again, this is a few years ago. It started a few years ago, and I believe this is really a continuous journey that will witness adjustment and as we move forward. Now, practically, what does it translate into the ground? In addition to all entities that exist today that are conducting a quite sophisticated biomedical R&D, as you know, this is the pipeline to lead to biotechnology enterprise, is actually biomedical R&D. Our institution happened to be one of them, but there are a lot of great institutions in the country, in Riyadh and other cities as well, that are really quite successful in the field. But overall, as a biotechnology, we are, of course, at the very beginning. If you look at it globally, and again, that's the reason why I believe the kingdom has recognized that it's time to jump in this field. You look at it globally, it's estimated to about biotechnology could generate something around $770 billion by 2024, which translates to an overall economic or global economic impact of about $3 to $4 trillion. That is quite substantial. And again, if the kingdom has decided to diversify its economy, biotechnology is one of those approaches. Look at it also, the disease burden. At the end, we do biotechnology because we want to solve health challenges and we want to make economic impact, both. So if you look at it globally, there are currently roughly about 4,500 new medicine in development, most of it, or 25% on cancer, followed by rare diseases, the topic of today, and then neurological diseases or neurological disorders. That's globally. About 45% of the global disease burden could be tackled through biotechnology innovation. Those are significant figures. If you look at now in Saudi Arabia, almost 4 out of the 5 most prevalent diseases in the country could reasonably be solved or addressed or tackled through biotechnology innovation and research, whether it's ischemic heart diseases, stroke, CKD, diabetes, congenital disorders, and there are a number of biotech platforms that have already shown their promises, like cell and gene therapy, mRNA-based therapies, monoclonal antibodies, and so on. So those are very convincing reasons why the kingdom has to embark really into biotechnology development and enhance its ecosystem.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Dr. Mazen?
Is it working? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you very much for the question. And I think just to commend and add to what has just been said, it is I think very obvious that the national push towards innovation and biotechnology has been very clear. I mean, His Royal Highness leads and chairs the Supreme Committee for Innovation in the country, and since then we have seen the birth of many programs that is no longer a discussion, but actually things that can be touched. Started with the relaunch of the National Institute of Health Research, followed by the announcements of the strategy for the Research Development Innovation Authority, followed by the revamp and strategy announcements of CACS, followed by the announcements of Neom City and the focus of biotechnology as part of their pillars. I think all these announcements came in the last 2 years as a result of what has just mentioned. And there are more to come. There are more announcements to come from Royal Commission of Riyadh City. There's more coming from Kaus University. There's, of course, what has been already touched by the 2 leading healthcare institutes in K-Mark and King Faisal Specialist Hospital. The Ministry of Education is embarking on a large announcements also in research, development, innovation. So I think those, and I think for the first time also, all these entities now do have a governing body that can regulate and help and support a healthy overlap, because it has to have some healthy overlap and at the same time complementary to each other. We've seen and has been announced the National Technology Development Program that was actually kicked off, and for the first time, I think, in the kingdom ever, there were grants open for the private sector. I think all these are touched events that shows that the country really pushing towards the implementation of biotech and innovation in the country.
Just
maybe the time is up.
It's okay, fine, thank you. So a question for all our panelists, and if you can give me one sentence to summarize this. What are the key initiatives that need to be prioritized and implemented within the next 5 years to ensure the successful establishment of a national level rare disease MoonShot program? And Dr. Mazen will start from there.
I think some of the things that were mentioned today are extremely essential. One was the national database for rare diseases. I think this is, although it's led today by the Saudi Health Council, I think this needs to be pushed. The initiatives that we were extremely excited by and announced by the Saudi FDA for expedited reviews, exceptional reviews, compulsory and market share. I think those are extremely essential, and when they come through, inshallah, we will see products being registered for rare disease first time in Saudi. And I think these two are very essential. Of course, it needs to be governed by a center, so hopefully there will be that too.
I think the registries are super important, but we need to build on that with understanding our genetics better. So doing more sequencing of the population, and also connecting the dots between the government, the industry, the researchers, and keeping the patient at the heart.
Sorry. So again, registry, collaborations, infrastructure, and involving all parties.
I think it's important to emphasize on partnership and especially inviting the private sector to work with the government. This is really essential. I think I would keep it short. I think I took a lot of time. We'll move I think with all the sentences that you will collect, you'll have already a summary.
My comment will be from the angle of R&D and innovation. I think there is a lot has been done in terms of fundamental understanding of the rare diseases, a lot of clinical efforts for sure, but what is completely missing is the let's say, biotechnology aspect of it. There is a lot to do. From our institution, just one example, from K-Market, the Minister of National Guard, we established partnership, and this is public information, partnership with AstraZeneca and Moderna to approach rare disease, but completely different approach. We need more of this, really. I think partnerships are the key. Global partnerships will be the key for the success of this MoonShot program. Perhaps one additional quick comment, maybe something to learn from the MoonShot of the cancer MoonShot initiative that was launched in the US a few years ago by a good friend of mine, Dr. Ronald DePino. So there is something to learn from there, so to ensure success of this initiative from the beginning. Wishing you good luck.
Thank you. I think they said most of them, so let me think of something innovative. I think we need Tawakkalna for healthcare, which integrates the healthcare data of the patient into that and also provides advice to the patient and also provide the tracking for outcome. That's number one. Number two is really involving the public. The public is key role in the success.
Thank you so much, everyone. Please, let's applaud our world-class panelists for their talk today. Thank you so much. I think the key message here is, again, the collaboration and data and having a source of governance when it comes to these initiatives. Now we'll go back with Dr. Yazid to continue his second. He will kill us now, but thank you so much for being here. شكرا.